market. So here is Statista from 2016. As you can see, South Korea is on the 7th place from the world's largest e-commerce markets. And from 2015 to 16, all of these countries have actually increased the market kind of big, especially in China. And also, if Amazon wants to maintain their first place as the e-commerce like giant, they have to enter South Korean markets because there's a lot of competitors like the China Alibaba, and they're going to be second place if they don't enter South Korea. And also, Korea is really is one of the most developed e-commerce markets, since they're really adapting to the new technologies here. And also another point is that there's living 51 million people in South Korea, so that's a really huge market for Amazon to enter. And then if you want to do business in South Korea, there's a few aspects you have to take in consideration. So first of all, you have to respect their hierarchy and the culture here, and also all the elder ones in the company. And all the meetings should start with a chit chat, and share personal information about yourself is seen as a positive thing. And also long-term oriented relationships. So the South Koreans aren't seeking for rapid growth, as for example the US people can be more like short-term related in these areas. And also, depending on where in South Korea you want to do business. For example, in Seoul, it's more kind of a Western culture, and maybe easier for US persons to work here. But then if you want to work outside Seoul, it's more like old school still. So taking consideration that too. And also the business relationships are between individuals and group and not companies. For example, some Amazon person coming from US, it should be always the same person or the same group, because that's how they're building the relationship with the Koreans, and not the company itself is making the relationship. And also language barriers can be kind of hard sometimes, so use clear English and easy English that everybody can understand. And also, if a Korean says yes, it doesn't always mean that they're agreeing. It's only meaning that they are listening to you and what you're saying.
So next we will present what kind of challenges Amazon will face when they will enter the Korean market. So some statistic, we found out that there are kind of many competitors for Amazon here in Korea, and we are going to present the three biggest competitors that have market share in Korea. So we have Gmarket, 11th Street, and Auction, and I will start to present Gmarket. So Gmarket, they have more than 10 million users in Korea and are the biggest competitors for Amazon here. And actually in 2009, eBay bought 67% of Gmarket's shares. So basically behind Gmarket there's eBay that's like holding almost the whole business. And eBay decided not to change the name of the company to eBay Korea. They kept the Gmarket name because Koreans, they are really loyal to they are brand loyal customers, and they like to buy like goods from a local company rather than buy it from the eBay. So when Gmarket entered China, they succeed because they, like China and Korea, they have a close relationship, and the common culture helped Gmarket to succeed in China. And for Amazon in Korea, it's a challenge for them. Like the brand loyal is a challenging thing, and country loyal customers. So if Amazon want to enter Korea, they should maybe think about a partnership like eBay did, and maybe keep the Korean name of the company to succeed.
And that last point you talked about the country loyal customers. I don't think I've heard you talk too much about that. Any suggestions for Amazon?
Since the Korean customers are they like to buy things from a Korean brand, so that's why if Amazon enter the Korean market, they should maybe partnership and not change like they should if they want to do it.
Okay, such as?
Alibaba already took Coupang.
They can acquire one of the 10 biggest
I think maybe this one.
e-commerce retailers, yeah, like SSG
or 11th Street.
Acquire or make joint venture.
Okay, and in the other sense, that idea of selling. Usually Amazon is selling a lot of American goods.
Yes.
Walmart came here and tried to sell a lot of American goods here and went bankrupt. So trying to sell, for example, in eBay, the instant tuna or whatever from the local manufacturer Dongwon versus the American manufacturers, that type of thing is also a part of it.
Stuff online.
Yeah, because if they partnership, they will also get insights from the market. Like Tesco succeed because they used local people that already knew about the market, while Walmart failed because they just took their American business concept to Korea without thinking about the market, what's happening in Korea. So partnership could be a good thing. And a few weeks ago, we also talked about that in South Korea, it is less harmful for a company to set up a return policy, as Koreans are trustworthy. So it's very important for Amazon to have a good return policy, since Koreans really, they maybe go to the shop and then they want to return it again. So, and since they are trustworthy, they can have this kind of return policy. While in maybe USA, it's not that good to have the return policy.
Yeah, and then we have the third competitor we're going to analyze. This one is 11th Street, which is recalled to 11th Street Malaysia because they had more market opportunities in Malaysia. Established in 2008 under the management of SK Planet, which is known in Korea as SK Telecom. This is a subsidiary, SK Telecom. So they had already an advantage in Korea. They have market knowledge through SK Telecom. Big player. They're active in 4 countries now, Turkey, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, but they just recently left. They announced they're going to leave in 2017 the Indonesian market. Their volumes were okay, but they didn't make the profits that they needed to make to sustain in Indonesia. And Thailand is maybe going to follow, but they don't know yet. And they have in Thailand and Malaysia a seller information platform. What does this mean? This is a platform to help new sellers who aren't used to sell online, to help them selling online, and actually to Amazon does this to attract more local sellers who offers local specialties and things to increase their sales. This they can also do in Korea. Amazon can do it in Korea. On the other hand, they also have a seller grade platform, and this is to reward them. The more they sell, the more points they get, the more grades, and the more they earn and they get rewards. 11th Street has also the most popular mobile application in Korea. It's a quite good application. So what can we learn from this for Amazon? What can we recommend as consultants for Amazon? They can make use of the partnerships and set up seller platforms in Korea to get more attraction from the little players that aren't used to sell online, and to learn them selling online actually. Then we have auction. This is the third biggest player, also acquired by eBay. So eBay has a couple of platforms in Korea actually, but they all keep their own names because Koreans are quite brand loyal, and if they see eBay or Alibaba, they would be scared maybe not buying Chinese or eBay. Auction is an auction is actually an auction style website is just something like eBay sell and bid platform. That's why eBay acquired it. The same strategies, the same mission vision. It's the largest one website of this kind in Korea, and they faced some challenges in Korea. They had a big reliance on external service providers, and the coordination of the strategy between both companies, so eBay and auction, didn't go that easy. And also the political and economical conditions in Korea, they face some challenges. And this is about the laws. There are some laws in Korea that makes it more difficult for e-commerce sellers to exploit their activities. And I'm going to talk about this in the next slide. So what can we learn from this slide and recommend to Amazon as consultants? They need to align their strategy when they do a joint venture or they acquire a company. They need to align both company strategies really good, and they have to take in mind the economical and political landscape, which is about laws. And we have two laws that are that Amazon has to take into account. The first one is the Cargo Transportation Act, which is actually just transport law, which is different for every country, can differ per city, can be different for Seoul, for example. And why is this important? Because Coupang is also one of the 10 biggest players in Korea in e-commerce. They violated this law, I think in 2006. They violated this law by doing super quick deliveries, 24 hours, which was back then really quick. And they didn't have the license for it. So they didn't have the license, so they were violated, they won the suit. But however, Amazon has 2-hour delivery, which is even more quick, so they have to make sure that they have the right licenses to carry out these quick deliveries. And on the other hand, we have the E-commerce Consumer Protection Act, which is more about error purchases. For example, you buy something that you didn't want to buy because the mechanism on the website was too easy to buy. And Amazon uses this one-click purchasing mechanism, which can make it easy for a customer to buy something and can be in contrast with this law. So then maybe we have to reconsider this law. And the E-commerce Consumer Protection Act also talks about the cooling off period, which is the period you buy something, you're not satisfied with it, and you actually want to return it. So they need to apply a good return policy in Korea. And as Sofia mentioned, it's more likely to do this in Korea than in the United States because Koreans are more honest in a way that they won't buy something, wear it, and then resend it back to the company. Koreans are more honest in this than in USA or in Europe. And then we also analyzed the user interface attractiveness of the application. Why did we do this? Because we know that Amazon Prime, the user interface did not appeal to Chinese and Japanese customers. So we want to do it better now we're going to Korea. And we recommend Amazon that they should make more complex interfaces and colorful design. Koreans like everything colorful. When you walk through Seoul, you will notice it, that everything's colorful and moving and very festive. That's also how they like their user interfaces, actually. And Jin states that a web service needs to reflect what's on people's mind at a certain moment of time. And this actually means that you need to personalize. So Amazon can use their data from customer preferences to customize and personalize their application interfaces. Together with these festive and colorful designs, the application can be successful. And then we have a video in which I am the CEO of Amazon and Sofia is the consultant, and it's actually a conclusion, but then in a video. Enjoy. Welcome, Sofia.
Oh, hello, Peter. Nice to meet you.
That's not right.
He's the American Amazon CEO. It's time to go already for him.
Raise the voice.
This one is Max.
On the computer.
The volume.
This one and this one.
No, but it's Max.
I did them last time.
Which one is this one?
Yeah. Was.
Where is your PPT? I don't see it online. I could use mine to help, but I don't see where yours is.
We did it upload. I'll do it directly. It's this one, yeah, I got it.
This one?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, once more.
Welcome, Sophia.
Oh, hello Peter, nice to meet you.
Okay, can we directly go to the main topics of the research paper? Because I don't have that much time today. Is that okay for you?
Yes, of course we can. Yeah.
Okay. So as I told you before, as you know, we're trying to seek market in South Korea. We're expanding our businesses with Amazon South Korea. And we'd like to have some recommendations from your side as a consultant on how to enter the South Korean market successfully.
Oh yeah, I can present some findings from our research paper.
Perfect.
So first, you should take into consideration that there are kind of a lot of competitors in Korea in the e-commerce market. So you should think about to maybe partner up with a bigger retailer that's like a Korean retailer to get some better insights in the market.
That can be a good idea. Do you think that Korean players, e-commerce players, are open for acquisitions and or joint ventures, for example?
Yeah, I think so, because eBay and Alibaba did the same way, and they're kind of successful in Korea at the moment. So I also recommend Amazon Korea to keep the Korean name if you do the partnership with a Korean company. Because they are kind of brand loyal, so they like to buy things from a Korean company. Yeah. There is also like the returning policy is very important in South Korea. You should take that into consideration. It's probably a bit different in the US.
Yeah, we don't have that good experience in the USA, but what about the management style? Is there a big difference? USA, Korea?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. In Korea, it's very important to create close relationships before entering the market because they appreciate personal relationships before doing business. And it's also very important to always send the same negotiator from US to Korea because they like to know the face and build trust.
Familiar faces.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. What about the negotiations itself? Are they different in the USA?
Yeah, they're a bit different, I think. They like small talks in the beginning about informal topics.
Okay.
And it's very appreciated to use clear English so that everybody understands. And the body language is important in South Korea. Gifts in the beginning of a meeting is really good to give to maintain the business relationship. And it's very good to remember birthdays. They like that.
From the employees, yeah. Okay, that can be a tricky one. That can be a hard one. Okay, I'll inform my colleagues. So thank you very much, Sophia, for this first report. I'll send the report to my colleagues. Thank you very much.
It will be useful for you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I'll finish questions while the next group gets ready to present. I think the last group, is that right? Can we have some comments? Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
In Korea, actually, delivery is really effective, it's really fast. And for instance, if you want from G-Market to abroad, they use EMS, which is really fast. As for instance, if you send from Korea to France, it can take like only 3 days. So how do you think Amazon could maybe do regarding regarding this concern about delivery, because Koreans are really concerned about misbehavior of items really fast.
They have in Malaysia, they established a 2-hour delivery service, Amazon Prime. And they have a warehouse in Malaysia at the moment, so if they have a warehouse in Korea, then they can also do the 2-hour delivery service Prime. I think that's also their goal to establish this in Korea. Yeah, and then you can have your delivery within 2 hours. That's the service. So a warehouse in Korea. Yeah.
Because nowadays you can buy from Amazon, but it takes a long time because it's shipped from US or Europe.
But this 2-hour delivery service is only for a couple of items. It's only for the most rotating items and the most convenient. I think in Malaysia they're even selling food for people because Malaysians have a lot of money and it's Singapore. Sorry, Singapore have a lot of money and they have few time. So they buy even food through Amazon, local retailers, within 2 hours. So it's for limited items they have stocks and Prime service, which is a little bit more costly.
For Amazon in the US, they have the Amazon card where customers can pay with Amazon card. Do you think this is possible to apply in Korea, considering that many websites in Korea deal with the payment method by using the local banks and giving, for example, discounts if you have Hanyang card or if you have Uri bank or so on. Amazon doesn't offer this in the US, I believe. It goes with its own card. So how do you think, or what do you think Amazon should do? Should they go with the Amazon card here, or should they just deal with the local bank's card and offer? Because Koreans love discounts.
Yeah.
They like to have a card, to hold a card that they have special treatment.
It's kind of a loyalty system, huh? Yeah, I think.
That's a really good point. Yeah, thanks.
But I think it would be more convenient for Koreans to use their local bank card. Then maybe if they have a code or something, they're going to get some discounts. Yeah.
Thank you very much, folks. In your presentation, it definitely seemed very clear the points that you were teaching a consulting client. So that seemed very good.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, we are the last team, so hang on there. So we are talking about Vietnamese coffee shop expanding to Korea, and our faces are here. This is Kiki, Li Jing, and me, Ustyna, and we are going to talk. We will gonna show you how does this started, like how it happened that we choose this topic. Oh no. Yes. How are you doing there? How was the day?
Very good. Almost finished. Ready for Christmas parties.
Oh really? Do you have plans for dinner? What are you gonna eat? Are you gonna drink some coffee?
Lucy, what's wrong with you? I really want to have a good coffee. I wish I could go to Vietnam right now. Why Vietnam? First of all, it's pretty warm now there, and also like the coffee shop quality. Like there's so many good coffee shops like on each corner, literally.
Do you
know Hong Cafe?
Yeah, it's from Vietnam, right?
Yeah, I have been there once, I think.
I heard that they are coming to Korea now, expanding to Korea.
Oh really? That would be great, but like, why going to Korea? Like, so the market is already like full of different coffee shops, and also they're international brand. They don't know much about Korean market, and also the management style could be also be a challenge.
But you see Starbucks now, they are big in Korea and they are international brand.
Yeah, they have pretty good business here, but wow, that's interesting case, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
Should we use it for our research paper?
Why not?
Let's call Li Jing. Li Jing!
Yeah, so as you understood, like after hearing that actually from our professor, like Hong Cafe is coming to Korea, we were very surprised. And we choose it as our topic of our research paper. Like honestly, like one more coffee shop here in Seoul, like where is the space for it? So we are going to talk about like during this presentation you see that we are going to talk about introduction, it just finished, and going on right now, and also like how is it overall doing business in Korea for a foreign brand? Is it actually like suitable? Is it easy for them being to enter here? Also like how they can deal between Korean and Vietnamese culture, especially business culture, and also like what is the current state of coffee shops in Korea? We know that it's like already a red market, but like is there any space for them? And what can be the suggestion for it? Yep. So we will start introduction. Right now what you should know that Korea's coffee industry has grown up 50% over 3 years, and it became 11th largest coffee market in the world. Also, it's calculated that there is more coffee shops than convenience stores right now in Seoul. And also, Vietnam is the second biggest exporter of coffee in the world. So it's clearly seeing the supply and demand. But also, we want to talk about the knowledge of the host country and the management style, like how the Vietnamese coffee shop is gonna manage in Korea.
Okay, I will show you the environment of doing business in Korea and how to do business in Korea. According to OECD report, in terms of environment of doing business and competitiveness, Korea are ranked as one of the best in the world, in the position 4 in 2015. This table shows that which reforms were implemented by Korean government. Korean government more focused on reducing the barriers existing in trade and investment, and strengthen the competition framework and rules. And according to the report of World Business, the rank of the facility of doing business is 4, and to protecting minority investor is 8, enforcing contract is 2, and resolving insolvency is 4. This is according to the report of Freedom House 2015. Korea's economic freedom score is 71.5, making its economic the 29th first in the 2015 index. Its score is higher than 2014 because Korea improved property rights, labor freedom, monetary freedom, and exceeded declines in the management of government spending and business freedom. So according to these reports, we can find that Korea continually makes great efforts on reducing the barriers while doing business with other countries and attracting excellent investments from different countries. With the improvement of policy and law, Korea is becoming more free and safe for foreigners doing business in Korea. So how to do business in Korea? Cho and Yoon said that usually the oldest person in the gathering initiates activities. The person of lower status falls to the one higher. So they establish their hierarchical position relative to others based on age. For Korean, it is normal to ask others age, and marital status, which foreigners may regard as personal. Koreans expect obedience and loyalty, particularly between management-subordinate relationships. In return, management is expected to demonstrate help and full support at all times. Koreans are very family-oriented, with the strong belief of blood-based succession. Most Koreans manage their business by the family members. The company is inherited by the oldest son in the family. Daughter doesn't have equal right as son. So foreign managers may wish to take into consideration this traditional family role when marketing to Korean customers. Koreans believe that it is critical to the business success to create and maintain a harmonic environment between people of the same rank. Koreans' behavior is strong ties to a group, whereas foreigners may think in individual terms. Like foreigners, they will think what is in my best interest, but Korean they will think in group terms, like what is the best interest of our group, and how can I help to maintain harmony with the group. So in order to close a deal when negotiating, foreign managers should be emphasized the benefits for the group, whether for the company or country. In terms of decision making, if not everyone is satisfied with the final decision, as the compromises have to be made by common way. However, once a decision is made, everyone has an obligation to follow the decision and implement it. Furthermore, Koreans don't like a negative answer. For example, rather than saying no, they might say, I will try. In Korean, employees as a group tend to put fairly heavier emphasis on extrinsic factors like salary and the work condition than on intrinsic factors like achievement and creativity for high motivation. Next, Kiki will focus on the cultural difference between Vietnam and Korea.
So according to Louis model, Vietnam and Korea shares a similar culture, which locates in reactive type of culture, and this is consistent with what Kwak said, that Korea and Vietnam share background as both countries as impacted by Chinese culture. And cultures in reactive types are type who are good listeners, who rarely initiate action or discussion, and preferring to first to listen and establish other position and then react to it to form their own opinion. Since both of the countries are in the same type of culture, which is in the reactive type, they shouldn't have that much problem with adapting to each other. In this case, according to Richard Lewis communication, they need to harmonize, act intuitively, be patient and see the big picture, think and act long term, access feelings, listen, emphasize, and challenge holistically. However, according to Hofstede model, they have some differences. So in this case, Vietnam is more flexible and relaxed when they are facing unknown situations, while Korea is less flexible when facing the same situation. That's why they need more safe situation. And Korea is in terms of long-term orientation. Korea scores like 100, which is very high in this course, and they are in the same Confucian culture, and as they both in the long-term orientation, they were very highly in the Confucianism culture, and it's the best for Vietnamese to develop a good relationship with Korean before they are starting their business, because
The Korean values relationship very much. And Vietnamese also need to be careful when they are doing business with Korean because both must not lose face, and also politeness and indirectness are also another point to be noted. Vietnamese wants to do business in Korea should know how the implicit message behind every action that their current business partner does. So the South Korea scores high on uncertainty and avoidance, whereas the Vietnam scores pretty low in this dimension. It means that the Vietnamese are quite flexible and can deal with unknown situation well, more than Korean does. And knowing this difference, Vietnamese should be able to adapt to how Korean deal with uncertain situation to start business in Korea. Like what we said before, that they should develop a good relationship between Korea and Vietnam. And it's also good that they will need to have a local employees or managers, and with that, not only Vietnamese will know more about the local market, but also making the current business partner safe, because it will give their business partner more certain situation. And Vietnam scores lower than Korea in terms of long-term orientation dimensions, and therefore it's believed to be influencing how Korean act in daily life and business life. Long-term orientation culture does impact the communication style of Korean, and believe that relationship is more important than accurate information exchange. So because South Korea values relationship a lot, it also makes the country a collectivist country who maintain harmony, usually unequal, and it was drawn from Confucian beliefs. And in business world, Korean tends to show their respect to employers or supervisor and avoid conflict, and will show their loyalty by obeying their employers or supervisors. Employers are usually taking care of their subordinates, and they tend to avoid criticizing other parties in public. So if the Vietnamese come to Korea, they will need to avoid their employees in public, so they both don't lose face. Because it's very important to take a look in the little details in the business world, such as what we mentioned before. And and Usti will go through with the cafe culture in Korea.
So we know more about the business cultures and overall cultures differences between and more similarities between Vietnam and Korea. So this is more about the coffee culture, and I'm gonna ask you questions. So you can
Test
make up
time, okay?
for a second. Like first of all, like how do you choose a coffee shop? Coffee shop. Yep.
This important, the environment, how beautiful it is.
The least important or the most important?
The least or what is important? The least? Because
The most important. How do you choose? You can say, oh, for me the least important is this, or for me the most important. You choose how you answer.
Okay.
You just
For me, the most important, I would say, of course, the price. Definitely. After that, it will say like how they present the coffee. Like it can be convenient, but also it should be delivered in a good way, not like give me whatever just because it's cheap. And in the third place, it will say like how beautiful it is, like how clean it is, how is the coffee shop organized inside and everything. For the service, it's important. Like,
okay. So price, service, and interior, right? What? Price, service,
coffee,
the way it's presented. You said.
interior, service.
Okay. Like you and first.
Yeah, I would say the atmosphere, and if it's like nice, and also the service.
Okay.
Coziness, Wi-Fi connection second.
Okay, thank you for saying Wi-Fi. Yes.
The quality of the coffee. And then
Okay, so everybody has pretty different standard. So according to one of the researchers, the store image is a customer perception of a particular store, which indicates stereotypical image of the store patrons. In other words, it doesn't mean what the store is, it's the way you see. It's the image is more important, right? So first, and another thing is like, since customers tend to choose a store that has similar personality of oneself, the store image can be drawn from various adjectives that usually describe stereotypical personal images, such as traditional versus modern, classy versus folky, friendly versus formal, high status versus low status. So the point is, when you choose the coffee shop, like, you can see, it reflects you, your stereotypical image of yourself. This is how you see, like, with your friends, when you go to the similar coffee shops and you see similar people to you in that place. Yes, so like, for example, will you choose like this? This is Coffee Smith. And like, as you see, the huge store, like huge space, nothing green. I don't see any flower. And like small, packed, accurate tables. And this is one of the coffee shops in my city that is like also very small. Like that they put a lot of effort on warm colors and flowers and the like the warm atmosphere and that. So yes.
But in your country, maybe I don't listen. I didn't listen. In your country, there's a coffee shop culture, like in Korea.
It's a little bit different. Like it's a little bit off topic, but like we have our city. My city has our own cultural like coffee culture because one of the person who brought the coffee to Europe was walking through Turkey, so we talk about it a lot. There's a lot of coffee shops. But why I put this picture here, these two pictures, because I have been to both the coffee shops, and for me they're contrasting. That's why I put it here and describe it. Okay, so next one is about what's happening in Korea. Like this is the Coffee Shop Brand Reputation Index by Korean Reputation Research Institute, drawn from the big data. So you don't have to understand everything in Korean, just you can see that the highest brand reputation index is a Starbucks. And after that, there will be Coffee Bean and Idea. Yeah. Okay. So you can see that like the brand of Starbucks is way beyond other coffee shops in Korea.
Which year was that? Oh, that was
2000,
December 2016?
Yeah, 2017 November.
Okay.
And this is 21st of December of 2016. How do you think what is on the picture? Why it's there? You can just guess. What happened on that day?
Coffee day.
Coffee day. Okay, like the point is that it's 1,000th Starbucks coffee shop in Korea. So that day it was open. So like there is 1,000 in that day. There was open the 1,000th coffee Starbucks store in Korea. And Korea now is the 5th country to reach 1,000 stores after US, Canada, Japan, and China. So it's the number 5 in the world. Who has the So wow, like so why would one more coffee shop come to Korea? This is why I was so surprised. Okay, so let's talk about how Starbucks did it. So it's clear why we choose Starbucks as example, but because it's way beyond other coffee shops. So right now we'll try to examine based on the sources information how did they do that and why others didn't. So this is one of the president and chief executive of Starbucks in Korea. So he's the main person who managed Starbucks in Korea. And he said that Starbucks doesn't simply sell coffee. We also try to provide a space for our consumers where they can interact and communicate. This is not a new thing. It's the third place that everybody talks. So most probably there's something else, right? So also I would say that the secret to our growth is to maintain balance and harmony in globalization. As we are a global brand and we have to localize in Korea, this is what we call localization, and this is the unique strategy pursued by Starbucks. So they took the foreign brand and they mix it with Korean perception. So listen to that, is it simply a luck or it's the right timing for them? So this is another research that is more focusing on sociology, and it said that When Starbucks entered the Korean market, it was in 1999. In the end of 20th century, the Koreans shift from drinking instant coffee to the big franchises, yes. And also in the society, as the labor became more defined as flexible, creative, and service-oriented, so the shift of the way people work and the way people behave also changed. So their perception of themselves also changed. And that's when Starbucks could catch it and elaborate it. So next one is second one is a balance in quality and quantity of experience. So by simply opening 1,000 stores, it doesn't mean that it will succeed, right? So they have very aggressive expansion. That what makes them literally on each corner. So in one of the in the paper, there's also the interview of other researchers that people also go there. They know that they will have always the same quality coffee. We're not talking about is it like very good quality coffee or not, but it's the same in each store, and they know that it's everywhere. The store is everywhere, and they know there is internet connection. So this is one of the interviewees said. So it's the same in each store. And one more thing is what is said about Starbucks is that Starbucks is more than just a place that inspire. So their mission statement is to inspire the human spirit. And they are selling is a place away from home and work where people can go and relax. They focus their energy on the premium design concept in their space and products, appealing to urbanites. I don't know if I spell it right, but the people who live in cities. And there are so many places you can go to coffee.